right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachav, Dash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessing to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom, Barakatham. And this is just going to be a lamb back on the video. I see the apostles reacting to with the Captain Zariak and John the Baptist, okay, who doubted the Lord, you know, while he was in prison, okay. But this is just a reminder that doubts are a part of the truth. Questioning the Lord is not necessarily right, but it's an indicator of an upright soul, and I'll explain what I mean. Okay, when John the Baptist was locked up in prison, you know, and he had this the encounter with the two men, you know, basically questioning if the Lord was here to bring the kingdom back, because there was a haste in the spirit of John the Baptist, as was all the prophets, man. All of the prophets questioned and wanted to find out why things are taking so long. Why is the Lord doing that? You know, and that's a part of it, man. The doubt demon has to be the highest paid demon on Satan's payroll, man, because it affected every man in the Lord, man. Even Yahweh Shai had to rebuke those things, man. Okay, you can almost say Yahweh Shai, you know, doubted himself or doubted the mission that he was on when he asked the Father, you know, will you take this cup away from me? But at the end of the day, it wasn't about the doubt. It was the fact that he had the spirit in him to overcome it. See, that's the thing. You see, the same person that you say was not in the truth was the same one willing to curse out Herod, knowing that he was going to get put to death, man. You don't think John the Baptist knew what was going to happen to him when he cursed out Herod for sleeping with his, I believe it was his brother's wife, you know? But the spirit in him had him to do it anyway, you know, because the spirit in him was righteous. Okay, now the flesh gets tired, the flesh gets weak, the flesh is wondering when, because, you know, when we saw the Lord come back doing all of these miracles, you're like, well, why are we still, you know, under this captivity, man? Why am I in prison? You know, those kind of things can get to you, okay, knowing that the Lord is on the scene. Okay, you had the same thing with almost every prophet, man. You know, Jeremiah didn't want to preach to Jake no more. He's like, why are you sending me to these people, man? Okay, but like Jeremiah said, he said the word of the Lord was like fire in his bones. That means the spirit in him was just too hot, man. Okay, he had to do the will of the Lord, man, and it doesn't make Jeremiah wicked because he didn't want to do what the Lord told him to do. You know, I mean, you know, it's going off to being rebellious, but ultimately the Lord is monitoring the spirit. Okay, and this is what these guys don't get. You know, that's why they try to put or say things that are sensationalized, that John the Baptist wasn't in the truth. Well, if he wasn't in the truth, the Lord would not have spoke about him posthumously. Okay, posthumously means, you know, after he's dead. Okay, the Lord said he was the greatest prophet. Why did he say that? Because the spirit in John the Baptist was a spirit written from old, man, that he would be the forerunner, that he would bring back, you know, the reconciliation of the lost sheep, or he would be at the forefront of that, you know. So you gotta remember that doubt is a part of this thing, and this is why the disciples constantly got rebuked for being doubtful. Okay, when Peter, was he not in the truth? He doubted the Lord. He doubted when the Lord was walking on water during the storm. Okay, he denied the Lord 3 times. Was he not in the truth? No, he was in the truth. But your flesh, you gotta overcome it, man. This is a skill you have to learn, man. Okay, because your flesh wants to just sit all day, do nothing, you know, eat and drink, have sex. That's all your flesh would do all day if it ain't had no larger responsibilities to worry about, you know. So it's a thing that we have to overcome. you know. And you got to remember how many prophets did this, man. Like prophets had righteous spirits in them, but they were still men at the end of the day, you know. You know, like Habakkuk question, like why does the Lord let wrong judgment proceed? You know, because you look at the situation, you get vexed, you know. But this is the trait of an upright soul. Now, an upright soul is not always compatible with the flesh, okay? Because the flesh just wants to be emotional and rash out, and this is why you have particular men or prophets asking the Lord, questioning the Lord, why this is going on, why that's going on. But the place where it's coming from is righteous, because they wanted righteousness to be established. Habakkuk wanted righteousness to be established. John the Baptist wanted the kingdom of heaven to be on the earth, okay? The apostles wanted the kingdom of heaven to be on the earth. That's a righteous thing. But can you get presumptuous? Can you speak out of turn? Can you get hasty? Yes, absolutely. And the Lord wants it that way, man, because it's the whole thing is not to be perfect in the flesh, okay? Because that's our promise in the new covenant, is to be perfect in the flesh, okay? You see? So put all of these things, you know, in perspective when you're reading the scriptures, and other guys try to downplay it for no reason, really, man. What do you get out of trying to convince people John the Baptist wasn't in the truth? You know, what do you get out of that? You know, this is why you got to question men that bring up and split hairs over different doctrines. You know, like the lake of fire. All of a sudden, we got to go revisit that, and I got a new breakdown. For what, man? Is America not going to be destroyed? Is the Lord not going to come back and sift everybody that need to be sifted, and deliver who he's going to deliver, and destroy who he's going to destroy? Is that all not coming to pass or not, man? Okay, but they got to be right about everything. They got to have the viral moment. Okay, they gotta sensationalize things and add their own salt to it, you know. But this truth don't need no condiments. It don't need no salt. It don't need no pepper. Okay, it tastes amazing to who it needs to taste amazing to, and that's the elect. Everybody else, the Lord don't want it to taste good to you, man. Spit it out. Okay. So you stop trying to add things to the scriptures, man. Okay. The Lord speaks about what happens to those that add. Okay, and now you may not be adding a verse that wasn't written there, that's written, but you can go off by just implying things with no spiritual filter. Now you can speculate, you know, but for you to declare that he wasn't in the truth because of that's going off, man. It's short-sighted and it's childish. Okay. So when you meditate on these things, man, remember that doubt is something that all men of the Lord experience, man. Ezra's had doubts, okay? He was fearful. He was afraid. He was worrying about the wrong thing. The Lord said, don't worry about the ones that ain't going to be saved. Worry about the ones that are like you, okay? Because at the end of the day, we know the Lord is in control, but it's still nerve-wracking, and it induces anxiety knowing that you got to go through it. You know, so you know, stick to the correct doctrine and pray, man. Okay, pray that the spirit of understanding is on you, because these things can be stumbling blocks to the younger brothers that don't know or are not sure. You know, or he got a point there. All right, and ultimately, man, if you're new, you just got to eat the whole roll, get through all of the scriptures. Okay, and then pray the Lord is dealing with you, and then you'll be able to make sense of things. Okay, you won't get caught up on particular things like a textual criticism, or you know, or an exception to a rule here or an exception to a rule there. You know, because you'll see it holistically what's going on, what the Lord is doing. Okay, and this word is like living water. So you know, if you are sincere. Okay, and you get into the scriptures, you'll get the understanding, man. You gotta have faith on that, you know. But anyway, man, I'm gonna end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. La Hashem Rakapadah Shalom. Kwam Yashua.